And welcome to the FeedBak Podcast, everybody. My name is Back, and this is a really special show. I know I say that all the time, but this one's special because we had somebody fall through, and I thought I'd say it, and I called him out. Russell Taylor. Next time, Gadget, you'll come on the show, and we'll talk about R&B and all that good stuff. I'll self-plug it, russelltaylor.net. Is it .net?
Yep.
.net. Check out his music. He got a bunch of stuff going on, but look forward to the interview sometime in the future. I don't know when. But anyway, so this is a special show because I've been, since I revamped the podcast, I've been looking for someone to help me out with it. And so if you watch the bonus videos we have on YouTube at the FeedBak, youtube.com/the FeedBak. Maybe you should have seen his, maybe you saw his face pop in every once in a while, and he's drinking orange juice right now as I'm about to introduce his ass. Karlen is here, and I wanted to, shoot the shit with him because he doesn't get to talk much. He gets to send me little, messages and say, hey, you're wrong about this date, and you're wrong about that date, or double check this.
Pictures with Goku, all that.
Yeah. Come on, man. But anyway, I wanted to give him a chance to show his face so you can hear his voice. And so we wanted to try something new this time because the last episode was about anime. And Karlen was kind of upset because he's an anime fan too, and he didn't get to participate in the conversation. So we're like, all right, let's follow up on this. And we wanted to pick an anime that we all know, that we've all seen, or at least even if you haven't watched it, you know what it is. And I'm talking about Dragon Ball, from Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Kai, Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball GT.
Let's just leave it at Dragon Ball Z.
You haven't watched the other one?
No, I watched them all. I just didn't think any of them really surmounted to anything.
Okay. So let's dive into it because I know there's a lot to unpack here. So I don't need to tell you the story of Dragon Ball Z. It's this alien kid named Goku falls on Earth, loses his memory, and he's from a race called the Saiyans, who are the warriors of the space. And they're very powerful. And then they used to go and conquer planets and in the universe and all that stuff. And by killing everybody, and we find out later they have superpowers, they can upgrade, they can power up and all that good stuff. And then this story unfolds.
And he was sent to Earth to conquer it, right?
Yes, he was sent to Earth before planet Vegeta was destroyed to conquer Earth, but he fell off a cliff and lost his memory and was found by Gohan, the grandpa Gohan, and raised them in the mountains. And then he found Bulma. He ran to Bulma, and then they go for the Dragon Balls. That's it. If you don't know the story about Dragon Ball by now in 2020, I don't know where you lived. I can pick somebody in the middle of fucking Peru or Tibet and say Kamehameha, and they know what I'm talking about.
Right.
They might not sound like that, but they know what I'm talking about. But anyway, let me ask you, what makes Dragon Ball? Let's just call it Dragon Ball. What makes Dragon Ball a dope anime, in your opinion? You answer it, and of course, I'll give my $5.
Sure. I think it was just really nostalgic for me, and seeing all the animations, the quick drawings, and you could tell it was hand drawn for a lot of the beginning of the show. These guys are just powering up, and they're super badass, and they're fighting all the time. There's really not much to not like about it.
When did you watch it first?
I just remember it would always come on late nights, Toonami.
Oh, Toonami. That's
Toonami
right. If you haven't listened to the old show, go back to the previous episode. We talk about how when anime came to the US and all that. But so what to me was dope about Dragon. Let's start with the dope, and then we'll go into whack, and then we'll decide whether or not Dragon Ball needs to go. Dragon Ball should stay.
Starting with the whack, I have a lot of feelings with the Toonami itself. Let's
start with the good.
Alien guy, the astronaut, the robot guy. I didn't know what he was for so long, and then he kept changing his image. and I didn't like him. I honestly didn't care for him.
Why
I
does
knew
it
whenever
matter?
he
He's
popped
there
up,
to
it was
like,
going to be
hey,
fire.
but you're not there to
But
watch him. You're there to watch the show he presents. Who gives a shit what the host looked like? He could have been
I
a
mean, I had to
tentacle
see him enough
alien.
time.
What?
I had to see him enough times, and I don't know. I didn't think he was that cool. I couldn't tell what he was. I didn't know.
It doesn't matter.
It mattered to me.
You have your priorities in the wrong place, son.
Yes, I've been told that.
No, but so what's dope about Dragon Ball was it was one of the first manga or anime that featured the like power-ups and stuff. You know, there's a big joke in the anime world about this is not even my final form, which
Right.
is every time you're like, okay,
Classic.
they fight, they get their ass whooped, and then they go, and then the villain like, this is not my final form, and they transform into something else, and now they're more powerful, and we've seen that with Frieza, everybody really, because the fights are so damn long.
Literally everyone.
Yeah. What else was dope about Dragon Ball, the Dragon Ball series? You think?
I thought it was funny, but not like overly funny.
How was it funny?
Because
Oh,
they always like shit on people like Krillin and stuff like that. You know, like the,
yeah,
the non-Saiyans, the Muggles of the Dragon Ball Z world. Apparently,
Yamcha dies so much.
they didn't even save him. After a while, they're just like, yeah, Yamcha. Like, think about my checking savings account. I don't know if we can get all these Dragon Balls.
That is funny. that
Tien and Yamcha, they just stayed up. They were chilling up there for seasons, and they brought Goku up and down like hella times.
Yeah, but there was a if you watch Dragon Ball, Chin was a bad guy.
Yeah, I remember.
He was a bad guy, so he did like.
And he was badass when he was a bad guy, and then he turned good and he was soft.
Well, you know, when you live in the mountains with a tiny robot child named Chaozu, you know, you gotta, you know.
I can relate.
And then you come out and you always see him training. He's always training, but he never gets nowhere.
Nowhere. Yeah.
Nowhere. He does the flare thing. I don't know what you call that in English. When he goes, I guess, puts his hand like the rock.
I don't know.
You don't know? That's like solar flares. Not well, one of those attacks. But anyway.
You're talking about Tien?
Yeah. He does it. He puts it like this on his chest, like he does a triangle with his chest, and then he just does a huge beam, and he uses that to like. He did that against Cell, I think.
Oh,
just to crush him.
I don't even remember. All these Dragon Ball fans and weebs are gonna hate me for this, but.
Oh, so do you think there's more whack than dope in Dragon Ball?
Maybe. There's a lot of Dragon Ball. And all the filler that they threw in there, that might add up to more whack than dope. But the dopeness is worth it. You know, it's like when you're comparing Game of Thrones or something like that. Like as a whole, the show was amazing. I hated the last season. Yeah, I won't even get into that because that's a whole nother episode. But I think Dragon Ball Z was more dope than whack, but there's hella filler. That was unnecessary. Like we were talking about before, episodes of them powering up like just rocks shaking and everything.
Yeah, but that's not a filler. That
was worse than filler because there was nothing going on, but we'd still watch it on the seat of our couch. You know?
Yeah, but don't you wish like you could? There's a video of this guy on YouTube. He goes, "Watch me go Super Saiyan." This black kid just sits there. He goes, let me watch. I'm about to go Super Saiyan. And he starts going, seriously. And for 5 minutes, and he's like clenching his fist. And to where like, and then he acts like, you know, when Goku transformed to Super Saiyan for the first time, and then his head jerks off it, like jerks backwards. He does the same thing. Yeah. He goes, and then his eyes turn white. It's like, and there's no special effects. There's no Photoshop. There's no Premiere. Nothing. He's just in his.
You're saying this man just went Super Saiyan?
No. It doesn't matter. The key is, after watching this show, everybody wishes they could be Super Saiyan. Guess in the point. This kid.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No.
I mean, it got to a point where people were doing Kamehameha out of nowhere. Like Kamehameha was more popular than Hadouken at one point. And it's the same shit.
It still is. I don't know what Hadouken is.
Are you serious or? Oh, you scared me there, man. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I know you're young and we're 20 years apart, but come on. But see, yeah, but before that, it was to me the dopest part of Dragon Ball Z was the groundbreaking part of it. Like you have, I mean, mangas and anime before definitely had the, uh, the art style and the overall story, but the Dragon Ball formula is just simple,
What is
right?
that?
It's an action anime or manga. It's simple. Is there's this kid who's going to protect Earth, and he's an alien. From there, you throw everything at him, and all he likes is, I want to fight stronger people. So
Hmm.
I need to train. I need to get stronger. That's it. It's a simple premise. It's appealing to everybody, kids, adults. I mean, we talked about on the previous show how like in Japanese anime and manga, it's about, yeah, you got to protect others and blah blah blah, the ones you love. But in Goku's case, it wasn't just that. It's just, I just want to be the strongest.
Right.
Who doesn't want to be the
He
strongest?
was having fun doing it, honestly.
Exactly. I was getting beat the crap out of, and then went to hell a couple times.
Yeah, he
When
loved
like
it.
died a couple times and shit. But it's like you don't really get to see that um uh in other mangas. And if there is, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't think of one. And you know what Dragon Ball is based on?
Hmm.
The Monkey King legend.
Not familiar.
Monkey King legend. It's a Chinese like folklore type of uh, like story
Hmm.
about a Monkey King. God of High School is about the Monkey King in a
Okay.
different way, but um, Monkey King, the way you know it's inspired on the Monkey King is Monkey King had the staff like Goku did in Dragon Ball. It has the tail like a monkey and the whole like giant gorilla thing and the cloud that
Okay.
you ride on. So
Was it
all
a human or no? In the Monkey King.
no, the monkey is a god. It's a monkey god.
Oh, it was like a
It looked
monkey.
like a monkey. Like
Okay, gotcha,
in the story, it looked like a monkey. But
So maybe
it's
they're paying like homage to it, you
yeah,
know?
that when it first started, that's exactly where it came from. And Akira Toriyama, I was like, yeah, I admit that that's what was about. But then he threw on the whole, planets and Planet Vegeta, and then Super Saiyan 2, and the kids and the tournaments. So there's always a tournament, and then the villain shows up and then fucks up everything. And
Mm.
then Goku and his friends, the Z fighters, like they call them in English, which is weird, I think, have to go and save the day, and that takes 6 months.
Approximately, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, man. No, I don't understand how my attention span lasted like that as a kid. Like I tried to go back and watch some Dragon Ball Z, and I couldn't do it. The episodes were just so long and really didn't hook me as much. I have to watch Kai if I'm gonna rewatch it, you know.
Hold on, my brother's calling. Let's see if I can get him. I'll
Oh
pause.
yes.
All right, so talking about Dragon Ball Z, and so I wanted to bring in the person who's probably the the biggest, who got me into it, really, or did it? I don't know. I got my brother Adama on this podcast. How you doing, brother?
Hey, how are
So
you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. And you know, like I said, we're big anime fans. We all grew up with it. And Dragon Ball was definitely a, a staple in the family. So even my parents knew what it was. But in your mind, Adam, like what made the Dragon Ball series a dope show?
So for myself, I see Dragon Ball as the godfather of anime. Like it's the anime that started a whole lot of things that other animes weren't doing before. And
Mhm.
then they just do. I think the biggest example is Vegeta. Every anime has a Vegeta. But
Oh,
the
like
original Vegeta was Dragon Ball Z, right?
uh-huh.
Like in every show, I don't know how deep you want me to go. Every show there's a villain, and then the villain eventually gets killed, and then there's a new villain. But Dragon Ball Z was one of the first show where the villain could actually eventually become a hero, or basically that's like the anti-hero, right? So
Yeah, Piccolo,
Mhm.
Vegeta, Piccolo, on all of them really, except for Krillin.
exactly. And I think the idea was always that, okay, well, I'm going to keep those villains around just to keep me going stronger. I mean, I think what I like about Dragon Ball Z, especially at its height, so I would say like the Cell Saga, like the drawings, the animation is really dope. Like if you look,
Hmm.
uh, I mean, today they do computer animated fights. I mean, you can still tell that when it's hand drawn, it still looks a little bit better. And
Right.
also at the time,
Yeah.
like anime was like the budget that they had for Dragon Ball Z. I think probably you don't see that today.
Hmm.
And so now it was really interesting, I think, to be. But you know, you like this story, you identify with the different characters, the struggle, the kind of the training, right? Like you at a certain level, you lose, and then you come back even stronger.
Almost at the brink of death, you get
And
stronger,
you,
which is
you,
kind
you
of
get
a weird
stronger.
thing. You're like you're about to die, and then you come back, like, yeah, I can win this, and then you muster some energy and power somewhere, and you end up winning. That's a good
And then
life lesson.
the funny thing is that the Drago, if you ever get a chance to like go on YouTube and read the story
Hmm.
of the creator of Dragon Ball Z, is like at first like he really likes comedy. He's actually a comedy. He liked comedy anime, but um, his comedy didn't always connect with audiences, and so he had Doctor Slump, which was also a good one. And Dragon Ball Z had like kind of like the fun thing.
Hmm.
And so he started doing Dragon Ball Z, and then it just took off, right? Like when I mean, even just the idea of like characters like flying up and shooting fireballs out of their hands or
Dragon Ball or Dragon
smashing.
Ball Z?
No, I said it started with Dragon Ball, right? Because at the end
Yeah.
of Dragon Ball is really where like the fights start really getting serious. Like when you see Piccolo
Right, right, right.
fighting Goku, and then like they're bleeding, and then it really gets like interesting. And then you go into Dragon Ball Z, and then you realize like, oh, this whole universe of like strong people that we can fight now, aliens in other planets, aliens coming to here. Um, what's interesting about Akira Toriyama is that he's a movie guy, and what people don't know is that a lot of inspiration from Dragon Ball Z also comes from movies that he saw. So the whole Trunk saga, that's actually
Going back
based
to
on Terminator.
Oh yeah,
really, I did not know that.
that
So
makes
bringing,
Yeah.
sense. I
uh,
could see that.
So it was the idea of a cat of like going, because essentially what it is the real pressure for the author is that you had to keep writing the manga week after week after week. And like in the anime, like there's no fillers. You gotta keep the story moving. And there are a couple of ideas like the pressure that created. So the idea for Super Saiyan was created because essentially like the Saiyans are not blonde. Like in the anime, they're blonde, but in the actual
manga.
manga, it just looks white.
Yeah, just
And
right.
created that transformation because it took too long to black out the hair of all the individual characters. So it came up with a transformation of Super Saiyan where they look blonde like on the curve, but on the paper it was just like it's a lot easier to draw Super Saiyan hair on the book than it is in the actual anime, right? So that's how he came up with that transformation.
I'm telling you, man, this
Wow.
this dude knows his Dragon Ball. That's exactly who I wanted on.
But yeah, so yeah, the saga Trunks is basically the Terminator story. The idea, even the character Trunks is actually Leonardo DiCaprio, like
The
the
hair,
haircut.
yeah, the haircut is Leo.
Yeah,
Holy
because
shit.
basically what happened is that there was so much pressure to write, and then every once in a while he would say like, if you ever read like the story, the life of people who draw mangas, like it's horrible, it's
It is. It
borderline.
is. Yeah.
And so you're there, you're writing, and then you have to do copy, you have to do all that kind of stuff. And so you're always like fishing for stories while you're still like writing. And so yeah, he drew inspiration from a lot of things. Like there's a character when in Dragon Ball, so going back to Dragon Ball, that enters the tournament, which is really Master Roshi. I think that's his name in English.
Yeah,
Master
Totsuki
Roshi goes in
Yami.
the tournament
Yeah.
as Jackie Chan, and that was
That's
actually because
right.
Akira Toriyama is the biggest Jackie Chan fan there is, and he liked it because he's an action comedy guy. Like he likes like the first Dragon Ball were a lot of like fun, uncomfortable situation and funny stuff. But then he moves into Dragon Ball Z. I think it's when he started working for this different producer. It goes like, okay, well, now that we have those likable characters, let's have them beat the crap out of each other. And so the story about like, you know, the Vegeta, the Saiyan race, and Freezer, and all that stuff. Like it's just like the complexity that came is basically the product of Akira Toriyama, the original author,
Mm-hmm.
and then the producer whose name I thought. And actually, to tell you how popular it is that Dragon Ball Z was so popular that initially at some point he just wanted to quit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his plan was to end the series, to have Goku die on planet Namek during that fight with Frieza, and it will either be over or Gohan will come and take over. But Goku is such like a likable universal character that they could never just kill him and say like, okay, we're done with Goku and we're moving on to like the next character.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think to me what you like about the story is you really think it's a story that's kind of universal, right? Like there is the fight for acceptance because like Goku is like he's from another planet, he's different. There's the idea of slavery in a sense, like Saiyans were basically slaves, right? They were basically used by Freezer,
to
his
go
breed of people to just to go and do the hard work on planet. So that Freezer is really like an evil real estate guy. Like he just sends those people to basically bulldoze those planets so that he can sell them. All right. And there's also this idea of like a meritocracy, like some villains are just born strong, like the Freezer and the Cell, but the Saiyans, they're always like training to get stronger.
Right, yeah.
So there's this idea of a meritocracy versus like the privileged strength. There is, I think to me, what really makes Dragon Ball Z different is the Vegeta character. There's no other character until recently, of course, there's no character where like, I mean, if you go online or any be like the Vegeta fans, which I consider myself a Vegeta fan, are like the hardest fans you will ever find. They're just like, man, like even right now, they're still doing a series.
Uh-huh.
And I was upset. I'm not.
The Dragon Ball Super when the Vegeta
exactly. And I'm thinking finally Vegeta is going to save the day, and then no.
Boom.
So that's talking about the flaw of Dragon Ball Z. It's that one thing is like, at the end of the day, it's always going to be Goku. It's never going to be any or Gohan. That was the one-time exception.
Yeah, for sure.
It's always Goku saving the planet. But I think it's interesting because I always say like, you know, Goku is stronger, but Goku has never beaten Vegeta. So Vegeta technically is the strongest in my opinion as a Vegeta.
You're a Vegeta fan. You're biased. So how? This Dragon Ball runs deep.
It runs very deep.
With my brother. But you know what's fascinating to me, like if I were to take Dragon Ball as it is today with all the different series, how would you make it better? How would you improve Dragon Ball? If you're Akira Toriyama today or the producer, you're like, you know, this is how I would make it better. I have a few ideas, but I want to hear yours first.
I think that's
and Karlen, if you got something, feel free to.
Yeah, of Dragon Ball Z suffers from the same thing that happens to anything when it gets really popular. So what happened to Dragon Ball Z is that the show got so popular and so good that they also invented in many ways the concept of fillers. Like you could watch, there's an entire episode of Dragon Ball Z where they're just like powering up and like,
that's what
we're
like
just talking about that.
Yeah, and you're just like, no, and
Thank you.
Because the ratings were almost the money, and so in order to create that space where they can create episodes, they started doing all those filler episodes. A few episodes are really like good. Like the one filler I always love is the one where Goku and Piccolo go for their driving license. And it's silly. Actually one of the best episodes.
Come on, man.
Dragon Ball Z ever said. It's like, and in the end, they don't even get it. Like the lady is like, you guys are too strong. You don't need the driving license anyway. But to your question, I think it's the fillers. I think it's maybe the over-reliance on always like Goku or the next transformation. But I feel that's why, to me, the best saga out of all Dragon Ball Z was like the Android and Cell saga.
Thank you.
Because it goes hand in hand. The Android has that time travel intrigue. The Cell saga is good because the unexpected happens. Goku is fighting and he's like, I give up. And I remember we're just like, what?
Yeah, we were watching, like, yeah, no way. It's like, Gohan, you take over. And then he dies, and you're like, wait, what? Goku can die?
And he threatens to blow up the whole planet, and then Gohan does that final moving Kamehameha where his dad is behind him. It's just like, oh.
No, but before that, there's one moment that we teared up is when Gohan turns into Super Saiyan 2 for the first time after Cyborg 16. And there's that song, there's that bird that flies up and he goes, and then he goes, and it goes crazy. And he has tears in his eyes. And that's like one of those, I mean, there's no other moment like that in Dragon Ball Z. That's emotional, where the music even changes. The music is an actual song, right? And I'm trying to think if there's another moment like that in Dragon Ball.
I mean, there are some moments. I think I would compare. I have another anime that's on my top there. We could do a whole show on Sensei, which is, I think, a little bit more emotionally put than Dragon Ball Z. But
yes,
Dragon Ball Z has some very touching moment. Like there's the time where Freezer basically kills Vegeta, and Vegeta turns to Goku in tears and say, you got to kill him. Like this guy, turned us basically into slave from birth and used us, and then he obliterated our entire race just on a whim, right? There's the episode where Trunks, who lives in the future where the androids have destroyed everything, comes back and kills. That's actually one of the better episodes too, where he kills the cyborgs. He kills the cyborg and he kills Cells, and you're just like, Trunks is he's the most badass. Like he doesn't play. Like Goku's like, oh, let's see your strength. Like Trunks just comes and goes like, if I can kill you now, I will kill you. Now.
Right. There are two fights. There's the one, there's Trunks versus Cell when he powers up and he gets all big. That's dope. And then there's another one that Trunks gets into. I'm trying to remember. Oh, when he kills Frieza, with his sword. And
as soon as he arrives on Earth, he's like, I'm not even letting this go through.
Like shreds him, cuts him in a million pieces, and then just blast him. I'm like, wow, okay, this guy can't fuck with him.
Right, that's why he's the most badass.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing is Trunks is a character that was invented by the producer who bought the name, because basically he was saying like, we need to revitalize the series. We need to connect with the teenager, like the same type of shit like producer or marketing guys always say. Mm-hmm. And I think Trunks is one of the more interesting characters in the series because he does. I mean, actually, you want to talk about this. I think one of the saddest movie I've ever seen is The History of Trunks, right? When they talk about his future, where, it's devastating and they all died. And then Gohan has like only one arm and he gets killed. And when he gets killed, that's the first time Trunks turns Super Saiyan. So it's really, I mean, and I'm trying to think of other really emotional moments.
When Vegeta sacrificed himself to kill Buu.
Right. So I was gonna say the Buu saga is one of the things where
great.
I hate it. I didn't dislike it. I just thought it went on for way too long. And in the end, it's the same thing. It's still Goku and Vegeta. And what's interesting about the Buu saga is I thought it started well.
It started well with when he became best friends with Satan.
Yeah,
he hated everybody else.
What I dislike about the Buu character is like it's the same trick over and over. Like we got the absorb the guy that was like new with Cell, but then Buu does that like literally 2 times. First he absorbs the old Buu by beating him, and then he fights against Go Trunks, which I also thought was an interesting idea. But then he somehow manages to absorb. So Gohan is also another character that is controversial for his own reason. He's like the wasted potential character. Because
was I not just saying this?
No, I agree.
He could have been so strong.
They said he was stronger than Goku at one point.
Gohan was dope.
Gohan is like
he's stuck to the books.
He's like the Grand Hill. He's like the guy you was like, man, we could have been so much better if he just applied himself. But he just didn't have it.
You want him to be a doctor, so you be a teacher or whatever.
But I mean, and also Gohan, what's interesting is the same thing. When you get that turn Super Saiyan 2, you have this great moment where you're like, oh, he's so strong. And then he gets arrogant and it ends up killing Goku, right? Which I also thought was like an unexpected twist because you're like, okay, superpowers. You think that Gohan is going to save the day,
Mhm.
and he almost blows it, right, by playing around with Cell. But the Buu saga is interesting. I love it all the way up to the point where like the I mean, you were talking about best fight in Dragon Ball Z, that M Vegeta versus Goku fight. You can find it
Yes,
on YouTube. It is
it is good.
like 10 minutes of pure animated, unadulterated madness, because they're like, I mean, they are fighting with a level of violence that has never been seen.
That's a good
I will
moment, too.
never be seen again on this planet. Like they're smashing each other. They are like just
Headbutting and yeah.
Right. And it's the fight that everybody wants to see, right? It's kind of like the what if, like, and but what I don't like about that saga is it felt like it was straight to try. It felt like either Go Trunks should have beaten, or even maybe Gohan again. Maybe that
Gohan,
mystic Gohan.
After training, like on that other planet with the Kais and stuff, he comes back and he doesn't turn Super Saiyan no more, but he has this other power, and you're like,
Mystic
yeah,
Gohan,
this is gonna, Mystic Gohan's gonna kick ass, and then nope, gets absorbed.
But there is this scene I really like in the Buu saga. So it's toward the end, right?
Mhm.
And I think it's good because some French presenter was talking about that scene, and it's kind of like the society we live in. It's interesting. So they're fighting on planet against like the small Buu, and of course they need the power from the
universe.
Well, what's it called? The Genkidama. What's it
Genkidama, the spirit bomb.
The spirit bomb, right? Right. Spirit bomb, and they're fighting, and so and Vegeta goes like, all right, let me talk to the Earthling. He goes like, you know, Kicker, like, how many times have you saved the Earth? Like 4 or 5 times. I love count. He's like, okay, let's ask the Earthlings to save their own planet. And then he speaks to them. He said, hey, you know, we're fighting for the fate of the universe here. Can you send us your energy? Because, like, you know, we're almost there. And of course, Vegeta does it in his own Vegeta way, where he explains a very logical argument. Goku is the strongest. Let's give him the energy. He wins. That's the fight. That's all you got to do, right? And of course, the Earthling starts raising their hands, like, "Oh, my power is being drawn out." So
who's that suspicious guy? I don't know him.
It's like, "Oh no, we're not doing this." And then, mind you, like, these are the 2 strongest guys in the universe, like Goku and Vegeta. But people don't want to listen. And then here comes Hercule Satan, who now gets in to speak to the Earthlings, like the guy who's not strong at all, who's never won a real battle. Right. But he's popular, right? And he tells them, you know, you got to do this, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, people give their energy. And I think it was an interesting parallel about like the power of popularity, because here is those 2 guys who are like the strongest guy ever. They know what they're talking about. They ask for something which is perfectly reasonable and explained. But the emotional draw of that Hercules character or Satan character, it's much stronger. So then he gets the win one. He gets the credit for like beating everybody else, while Goku and the other guys have done the hard work. And I just thought it was an interesting take on the idea of like, because it talks about basically how you make an argument, right? You can make an argument. Hold on, I'll look it up real quick. It's called the Triangle of Persuasion. If you ever get a chance to look into that, it's very interesting. So there's like, basically there are 3 ways to make an argument.
You can yell at them.
Right. There's the emotional impact, the personal connection. So that's the Hercules Satan saying, I'm popular, you should follow me, right? There's the ethics and credibility, is how much like trustworthiness and authority you have in your field. So that's listening to like, kind of, I guess, a Dr. Fauci type. And then there's the logos, which are just the fact and statistics. And so I think it's interesting that, we live in a world where popularity like just kind of drives everything. And in this end battle with Dragon Ball Z, the commentator was using this as an example to say, like, in today's world, like, we're really in the word of like the ethos, right? Of like, whoever you trust as a person, whatever they tell you, like, that's what you follow, right? Or the pathos, rather, like the emotional connection, the facts, the fact that you have any authority in the matter, it doesn't matter. Today, we live in the age of the pathos, and that's how you convince people. If Tiger Woods tell you it's a great car, you buy it because it's Tiger Woods. Doesn't matter the car shit is, like, you have that connection with that person. But going back to Dragon Ball Z, I think to me,
I
that's
think
somewhat-
we're just gonna shut up and listen to Adama talk. Because I mean, this is how deep
I
Dragon
agree
Ball
with
is.
all of that.
Yeah, but
Except
None
I
of
didn't
it-
think of it that way. I mean, that episode came out. Dragon Ball Z ended when, in the 90s, late 90s,
98, 98,
Right,
yeah,
yeah, 98.
96.
So even back then, like that idea of, the most popular guy wins or gets the win. Here we are
He
20
gets
years
credit for the
later.
win, yeah.
Here we are 20 years later, and then it's the same shit.
Yeah, and it's an interesting. I think also what Dragon Ball Z does better than most is that the characters are relatable, right? So you have those characters that are different, like the Vegeta, but Goku is a relatable guy. Like he's not the kind of self-righteous hero that you usually find in stories who's like, well, I'm all about justice and I want
Yeah,
this.
he's not that smart either. He's not that smart. He's naive. He just enjoys one thing, which is fighting. So it's a very cut and dry type of personality. You like,
he has a single purpose, right? He's
I want to be the
smartest
strongest
fighter. Yeah, I want it. He has a simple goal, which I think you can all admire that as a kid.
That's
It's
respectable.
Like,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you just have one wish, like you just want to be the strongest, like fighter, right, or something like that.
or whatever you're doing. That's just
Whatever
you
you're
gotta
doing
get better.
at-
You gotta train. You have to upgrade. You have to find your final form or whatever, whatever that looks
But
like.
there's also one thing that's unique in Dragon Ball Z is that the characters never really blame others, which is kind of an interesting concept.
What do you mean by blame others?
Like they never go like, well, if this didn't happen, it's because of like all whatever character, whatever situation they get into, they always feel like I just have to outwork it to get it out of myself. So they never go like, well, it's not fair that this is happening to me. Even though technically there are a lot of stuff that are unfair that goes on in Dragon Ball Z, but every character always feel that the solution to get out of whatever predicament it is to
just to train
outwork.
harder. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's what in the end is the core of Dragon Ball Z, is just this idea that this, I guess, Japanese dream or American dream, or whatever you would call it, is this idea that you can just, if you just focus and work, you can just get out of constant situations, right?
If I wanted to make Dragon Ball Z better, and I would make it less revolve around Goku.
Yeah, I agree.
To your point. So, in modern anime, you have a central character. Naruto, Bleach, it's Ichigo, Kenshiro for Hokuto no Ken. There's always a main character. But all the satellite characters around him or her have a backstory that at some point you get to explore. The only ones that we saw kind of grow. I mean, we saw Piccolo, we saw Vegeta, we saw Trunks,
Gohan.
yeah, but it's still like to your point. Goku saves the day. Who would give the power to Goku? Who never catches a break? Vegeta, Yamcha. Nobody else gets to shine ever. Even like one of the best, one of the best fights that you the Cyborgs 17 versus Piccolo fight, which is
that's also one of the greatest fights in Dragon Ball Z.
One of the best fights, and you're like, there's no the outcome from that. You'd be like, "Dope, Piccolo can actually put up a fight and can really whoop this robot's ass." But no, he doesn't get it. It's Trunk versus Cell when Trunk powered up. Same thing, and it's too Goku focused, which makes it too linear. And let's just get into what's whack about Dragon Ball, because I think we've touched on a few things here. But if the formula is so basic, it's okay. We have one guy, he wants to be stronger, and the villain comes in threatening to kill everybody on Earth or destroy Earth. So he's going to go out there with his friends and then and take care of stuff.
But so that's what I think. One thing, so just kind of diverting back to I think to me that's what also redeemed Dragon Ball Super, which came after, is this whole arc of the Tournament of Power. I thought was really interesting,
right?
Because they're now established that it wasn't like, oh, there's this evil guy trying to destroy the world. It's like, hey, we're fighting all the universe. Whichever one loses, all the other ones get erased, right? So I thought it was interesting that they built this new power structure of like, okay, now they're gods, so on principle, they're not gonna like be stronger than that. But to your point, I do think it's too Goku focused. One of the anime I've been watching recently that's actually really good. Like what animes do you think do a good job of balancing like side characters? There are a few that come to mind for me.
One Piece.
One is so I don't know as much about One Piece, but that's what I've heard. I started watching Hajime no Ippo, which actually started around the same time.
Ippo is the boxing one.
Yeah, and so it's interesting because it also kind of has the same dynamic, but in different ways.
There's a Vegeta. Sendo is the Vegeta character.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What I think is a little bit different about Hajime Puzzle, it's almost the same concept, except there's no power, and it was created around the same time. So nobody has magic power. They're all boxing, and each boxing has a different styles. They have different problems. One is trying to go international. The other one is like old and trying to figure out if he should hang it up. And then they also have this guy who's like a natural gifted fighter, Takamura, who just seems to never lose. He's kind of like, in my way, more of the Goku than Hippo is. But it's interesting. Another show that does well balancing characters is Senseiya, where I felt like there are like 5 characters, but there's one main character, but the other 4 arguably are more popular and have stories of their own. I would say if you ever watch JoJo Bizarre's Adventure, JoJo is also a central character. It's weird, but we could do a whole nother show about that.
Yeah, I want to focus on Dragon Ball.
You're right, but the balancing of the characters, you're right, it's the biggest Dragon Ball Z flaw, even though Dragon Ball Z has some very good, and they even have some characters when you think about it that are really, when you think about Dragon Ball Z, like Bulma is an important character in Dragon Ball Z, and she's a female. There's not a lot of anime where there's an important female character and she doesn't have like huge boobs or wears skimpy outfits on.
Well, Bulma did though.
Bulma did. She wore short shorts
all the time, but she wasn't.
I mean, at least I guess compared to what you see now in animes, I feel it's still a little bit less extreme than what I thought.
No, but what's interesting about
and she's also known for being intelligent, which is different from a lot
exactly.
of
That's
and she's the reason why the whole thing started.
Wasn't it her father did the whole he made the Dragon Ball radar, or is his company or something?
The Dragon Ball radar.
Yeah, they made the radar, but she's the one who ran into Goku because she was looking for Goku's Dragon Ball, and she basically took Goku along on this adventure and journey. If there was no Bulma, you wouldn't have a Dragon Ball, really.
Yeah, she hits him with her car. Like I think that's like the
and it's not dead.
The manga. It's not dead.
But another so to your point about going all the way to like, okay, now we have different gods and different universes and stuff. That's a huge problem to me because it always feels like, okay, how can we? Of course, it's a business now. It's gotten so big that you have to keep going, and you're like, okay, how many power ups can you come up with for Goku? Because he's had all of them. Vegeta doesn't get all of them. Doesn't get Saiyan 3. He doesn't get the God one. I don't think he gets. He gets another version of the blue during the Tournament of Power, but you're like, okay, so now you have Dragon Balls on Earth, then you have Dragon Balls in the universe, then you have the Dragon Balls on Namek planet, on planet Namek, and it just keeps like, okay, how far can we go to where it's done now?
So I think it's good. One of the things you can see, it's weird because like when Toriyama left Dragon Ball Z and you get like Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball GT, like that was just pure trash, right?
Yeah, let's go.
Thank you.
Dragon Ball Z sucked. You know what? There's one redeemable thing about Dragon Ball.
Gohan's daughter.
No. Fuck that. No, that's stupid. No. The only thing I like was the idea that the dragons were born from every time that they used the Dragon Balls in Dragon Ball Z.
Mm-hmm.
And having that flashback, and I like the Oop character too.
Yeah, I mean it's not just you
doesn't add anything.
The spirit of the thing is different. And to actually go back to the character, I just think about it as like, who's the strongest being in the universe? It's not Dragon Ball, it's not Goku, it's Chi-Chi, right? Which I also thought was an interesting dynamic. Is Goku's wife.
That's what I said.
Because he's scared of her all the time.
Oh. You can make Goku do anything. So yeah.
Exactly. So she's the strongest.
Look, the only thing that can make Goku like feel uncomfortable is the needle. So okay, so something else that's whack in Dragon Ball as a series.
I um I mean, so we've talked. You talk about transformation problem. I think some transformation are warranted, in other words, just a little. Even the Super Saiyan 3 concept. I like Super Saiyan Blue, but I never really liked Super Saiyan 3. I didn't like the design, the
long hair
with
no eyebrows.
No eyebrows. I just thought it was kind of silly. I like the fusion concept. I thought that
the
was
fusion was dope. They could have used
cool.
that more.
Yeah,
and even that Broly movie. So I think to me that's when kind of the Dragon Ball Z renaissance that we just had started. I saw that Broly movie and I thought it was really good because Broly was like an old OAV original animated video, and they came up with this movie and I really liked it. I thought like, oh, this is good. Like I like this version of Broly better.
It's the movie with the most grunts in it because the fights are so long. Seriously,
I know, but the fights are impressive.
The fights are dope. They look great, but it's just like, and the art style is different too, which I thought was interesting. But yeah, it's a lot of grunts and it gets annoying. Another thing that was annoying with Dragon Ball, and then Karlen, you brought it up, is that's like one of the grunting all the time, and I always thought it sounded better in Japanese than in English, because in English just it gets old, but in Japanese it's more, I don't know, it sounds
higher
better
pitched.
Yeah, it's high pitched.
It's
but
hurts the ears.
There's also a lot of nonsensical things that go on. One of my favorite one is the fact where they like Trunks comes from the future and tells them, hey, basically there are those two androids that are coming, they're probably going to different. And then Bulma, the smartest on the planet, says, hey, we can just go to the lab and destroy him now. And then Goku is like, no, we're just going to wait for them. We're going to train and then we're going to fight them. And he's just like, wait a second. This dude just came from the future to tell you that he's going to kill all of you. And he's like, no, we'll just train harder. Like, rather than just kill him right now. There are a lot of stuff. Or even Vegeta comes with Cell.
Yeah.
And he's just like, man, like, this is just too easy. I'm just going to let you transform. And only to then get his ass handed back to him, right? But yeah, sometimes there's some things that really just don't make sense. Like that's why, but that's a good one because it's kind of funny to think like, yeah, no, we because it actually happens. Because like usually something like that would happen. Bulma is like the normal person who's thinking like, yeah, like that's the logical thing to do, and they're like, no, we're just gonna fight her.
Nah, we're warrior race. Fighting is what we do.
Yeah.
So
some of the thing also the repetition, right? The idea that like the other characters go ahead, so they start winning a little, but then they get beat up, and then Goku comes in late to save the day.
Every time.
Except in the Cell Saga, which is why in the Android, which is why it's the greatest saga, because for most of it, Goku is on the sideline and he ends up not winning any of those things. Like in the Cell and Android saga, Goku loses every time. First, he loses to that fat android. Then he trains Goku, and then he loses against Cell. So I think that's what to me make the show really stand out. And it was also the first time where you have a villain going after another villain, right? Cell trying to absorb the androids who were a villain of their own, right? Which is something you don't see a lot in anime. But some of the weak points, the transformation, the repetition. There's also, I'm trying to think of, the God universe is always evolving. So at first you thought there was only Dende, and then you realize, no, there's the Chaos. And then there's that guy who organized the tournament with like Pekuon and all those guys. And then you realize like, no, there's the Supreme Zeno Kami, and then there's the angels, and it's like it's an ever-evolving religion with new layers of gods every time, right? And then the gods are not even that strong apparently, because like
I feel like that's the whole show's like theme. It's just like, how can we top this? And like Goku's power,
just like Goku,
he always just surpasses his own power, like all the time. You
Like,
think this is the strongest he's gonna get, and now his hair is pink, and then you're like, okay, I guess this is the next
this is
level.
what we're doing. Yeah.
This is where we are. Right?
No, but I actually, it's funny you mentioned that. I did like that arc with Future Trunks in Dragon Ball Z Super, where he goes like, I'll call this Saiyan Rose, where he goes like, Goku Black has that pink Saiyan hair, which you just mentioned, right? So, but I think, like I said, to me, what really makes Dragon Ball Z stand out is that it's just that it is the Godfather of anime. It launched its. I mean, there's so many animes with references to Dragon Ball Z that are like kind of hidden, or sometimes where they just like redo an entire scene.
Well,
Even in
I think
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Go ahead.
The idea of life force, of ki, that you can use that and then project it, or you can fly, or you can do whatever. Now it's like every anime has a version of that.
Yeah, yeah, we kind of take it for, but I always thought that was the first anime, because the first time you see it, you don't get it. It's like, what is that coming out of their hands? I mean, now if you're an anime person, like that makes perfect sense to you.
Right. You know,
when you really think about it,
For sure.
the idea of, or even powering up before a fight, like what any other anime does.
Look,
like
look, I'll share a story. When Adam and I used to fight when we were kids, he would make those like in Japanese when they start like when they're hurting or when they get beat, they go. And Adam used to make that sound when I would beat him up. When we're fighting, he goes. And then his head would turn yellow and he'll kick my ass. No, I wouldn't. I'm saying this is how deep it goes. This is how like how big, and I mean, and not just that. When you think about where it started in the 80s, and here we are in 2020, and there's still Dragon Ball coming out, and it's had the, like we said, Dragon Ball Z, GT, Kai, then Super is the one after, right?
Yeah, and
oh no, wasn't there another one in between? Am I missing
Ultra?
one?
Is there Ultra something? Maybe.
No. After Kai was Super.
I think even if you look, this was obviously pre-COVID, but during the Tournament of Power, there were like villages where people would put like episodes of Dragon Ball Z on the big screen. If you ever get a chance to look on YouTube, there are crowds watching in outdoor theater, the Tournament of Power. And there's that moment, I'm gonna see if I can find it. There's that moment where like Goku turns like Instinct and people are like
Ultra Instinct?
roaring in the crowd.
Yes,
it's like a soccer match, and they're like, oh, they can't believe it. And it
another power up.
Right. Yeah. Who could have seen this?
And what color is the hair? Grayish white. And you're like, oh, okay. And we're gonna change this pupil to white. But that the same thing. Like you come up with a character like Jiren, right? Who's supposed to be like the most powerful. The guy doesn't even fight at the most of the time during the Tournament of Power. And then now he has to fight Goku, and Goku gets his ass whooped like a bunch of times. And then when he turns to Ultra Instinct for the first time, he doesn't master it yet, but you do get this this rush. That is true. Did you find it?
I'm looking now, but yeah, I think it was in Central or South America where they were just watching the Tournament of Power on a big screen.
You can share your screen.
Yeah, give me just a second. I'm gonna find it. It was on Twitter, but and I think it's so universal. It was like it's like in Ecuador, and it was just like you're just like what, and you know the okay, so
like watching a soccer match. I mean, it's how big this thing is. It's incredible.
So hold on.
Hit share and then make sure you share the sound too.
Oh, so I just, what do you see now?
Yeah, we see it. But do you have the sound?
So this is just a picture, but like just imagine, especially in these days, it's like there's people in I think it was in South America, everywhere. Like they would actually watch the whole thing. Hold on, I'll share my screen again once I find it. But there's a famous clip where like they're all screaming when especially I think the shocking moment in Dragon Ball Super is when you see actually Freezer and Goku working together to defeat someone.
I love the animation for that fight.
I was just like, that is insane. The idea of those two guys. Even that, I was just like, and the thing is, you feel so strongly about those characters when they're like at the end of the tournament, they give him back his life. I was like, don't give Freezer back his life. Let him go back straight to hell where he belongs. Like, I will never be down with Frieza. Like, I will accept any anime coming back, but Frieza was just one. Like, there is no redeemable quality about him.
I found it. I'm going to share my screen.
Oh, you found it? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Can you hear the sound?
No.
Oh crap! Hold on. You're gonna have to edit all this out, Karlen. Let's check computer sound. That animation is dope, though. You gotta admit.
Oh
yeah. I'm gonna back up real quick so you can see how.
Damn.
It's nuts, man.
Where's this?
What other artists can claim they can do that, right? The ability to write a story that people around the world would gather and watch,
right,
like this outside. And yeah, it's to me, it's such I think it's especially hard now because now everything is kind of like niche marketing, and then you get your audience for this.
Mm-hmm.
And Dragon Ball Z was one of those few animes where it's just like I said, it's like The Godfather. It's one of the few things we can agree, like, this might not be your favorite, but it's definitely one of the best.
It's iconic.
It was ranked within the top 50 TV shows of all time, number 35. I saw
that's huge for an anime.
This is big.
Yeah, for an anime like that. Yeah, it's huge.
All time. So the question now is: should the Dragon Ball series got to go, or does it got to stay?
It's got to stay.
I'm still for giving Akira Toriyama another chance to, because I like the Tournament of Power. I gotta say, so at first Dragon Ball Super, I wasn't completely sold on it. I like the Trunk arc. I was like, okay. But then when they got the Tournament of Power, what I really liked about it, I thought it was original. I thought it kind of gave an opportunity to other characters to shine just a little bit, even if they didn't win. So yeah, I'm watching the manga. I'm not sure how much I like that.
The Moro guy?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of tired of the whole, like, I absorb people. Like, they need to come up with a villain that has its own stuff.
I absorb planets. I absorb people's powers. That's what Moro is. So,
yeah. Go ahead.
Karlen, what do you think? You think it's got to stay?
Yeah, I mean, despite all the filler and the nonsense and the wasted time, I think it's a great show. And like you were saying, Adama, it is the Godfather of anime. You can see not just in like the themes, but even the characters. There's so many similar characters to Vegeta and Goku. Like, Goku's always just he's a super kind of simple-minded, but like really strong, loves to just get better and fight and have, a good time. Mm-hmm. That's seen in so many different shows, like My Hero Academia,
Exactly. Bakugo and Midoriya, yeah.
That's literally Vegeta and Goku,
same
right
thing.
there.
Sasuke and Naruto, same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. So I'm going to say it's got to go. Here's why.
No!
Hot take.
Hot take. I got to. I can't be on your side. This is the feedback. I got to give my feedback. So I think it's got to go because it can become too much. I think we've touched on a lot of points where you're really at this point just stretching it. So you go from there's the Earth, and then now there's the universe. Now there's different universes, and you're like, okay, how far can you take this? And if it would just close, and be held as, okay, yeah, this is the Godfather in anime. If you want a formula for anime, this is the one to follow. And I mean, what, 30 something years of it? I think that's plenty. Now they're doing the Dragon Ball Heroes, which does not even make sense. I don't know if you guys
So
watched
so
it.
the so
It's
so
based on a
I
video game or some shit because it doesn't
so
make sense.
yeah. So here's what I like about Dragon. It's one of those things where at least they had the decency to separate that from the regular Dragon Ball, because basically that's just a money grab. Let's just call it what it is. Dragon Ball
Yeah,
Heroes.
it was based
It's
on a
just
video
adding
game.
clips. Yeah, but yeah, it's just meant to keep the sales going
Exactly,
for
it's
whatever
too
that
much.
game is.
It's a show.
Yeah, you can
Not really. It's like 5 episodes of like 4 or 7 minutes. It's not even like a full
Oh.
thing. It's
No,
not like
I
you
mean
can
there's
really.
more than 10 episodes, but yeah, by the time you watch the opening sequence, the episode, and the ending, there's maybe like 5 minutes of episode, and then they can jump from, like, the stories don't even follow something because they just throw, okay, there's a Goku who's a Super Saiyan 4 who looks like this, and there's another Goku who's Super Saiyan 4 who looks like that. Or it's weird. There's a prison, and I don't know. But what I'm saying is just close it out, give it some closure. If you want to do a spin-off and do, this is the Krillin story, or this is the Vegeta story, this is whatever
The
story,
Yamcha.
the Yamcha story, where you die
Yeah,
all the time.
people are
He's
dying
just
for
in
a
heaven,
Yamcha
just
story.
chilling.
Yeah. No, I mean, or you come up with a whole new universe with different characters, and you can maybe link them to Dragon Ball Z somehow. But I think as a body of work, there's a whole lot there without counting all the as a pop culture,
But see, I think what's hard for them is
to
that
not make money and milk the
no, I mean,
shit
it's
out
not
of
just
it.
the money. It's just the characters are so iconic that it would be hard to write a story without them. Like
Yeah,
you
but
can't
don't
write
then
a
don't
story
just let it
without
go.
Goku and Vegeta.
Just
I
let it
agree
go.
I
with
think
you.
they're afraid. They could
To
do
me,
it.
it's like the Rolling Stones. Yeah, they may come up with an album, but in the end, they still got to do the same shit that they've been playing for 50 years
Exactly.
because that's all people want to hear. And even if they did come up with a spin-off, you know what would happen by episode 2? People is like, okay, when is Vegeta coming? When is Goku coming?
Okay, then don't do
What
it.
does Gohan
Let
think
it
about
die.
it?
They could have him
I-
come back as like cameos. Like if they did sort of what they did with JoJo, and like Gohan was actually cool and Goten was actually cool, and they had their own like life
So
stories.
I think
That
that's
would have been
interesting.
cool.
I know this is not a podcast about JoJo, but let me just say a few words about JoJo's. I think to me that's what JoJo Bizarre Adventure does best is it's the ability to kind of almost like either like a Black Mirror, like an anthology series where you kind of take some of the same elements but you change. But in order to do that, you have to develop other characters, and you can't have, you know what I mean? That's the thing, is that you have to be able to detach the main characters from that new chapter. In the case of Dragon Ball Z, you can't. You cannot do an
Can't do a
episode
villain
that-
without Goku beating him.
I think they all
Pretty
relied
much,
on
yeah.
You
Goku too
can't.
hard. Like the producers,
Exactly.
all the
Yeah.
characters in the show, they all relied on Goku. They were nothing without Goku.
And yeah, it's
that's their
like,
downfall.
but there was a chance. Actually, you know, but the only hope. So if Aki Toriyama, if you're listening out there,
Oh yeah, I'm
I
sure
could
he
see-
is.
Listens to the podcast, great fan. But I
Ohio
think
gozaimasu.
if you're talking about a spin-off, to me, Trunk could do a spin-off, right?
Easily.
They already did it.
But it's
somewhat,
already
but-
done with the movie, right? Yeah.
But I actually maybe that's a good compromise. Maybe they stop the series and they keep doing those movies every 2 or 3 years that everybody loves. Because if it's anything like the Broly movie, I think they could pull off a movie every
Yes,
1 or 2
I'm
years.
okay. I'm okay if they introduce. I mean, we had Garlic, we had Cooler, we had Broly, we had what's his face, Thales. I don't know what his name is in English. Goku's brother. But anyway, you can
Radic,
still,
or right?
huh?
No,
No,
not
Raditz was in
Raditz,
Dragon
right?
Ball Z, but Talis is the other one who looks just like Goku. But anyway, you could still, make movies, but if you introduce something new, if it's the same shit over and over again, no, I'm not buying it. I think we just gotta let it go, keep it in the museum. Like, look, there was a series like 100 years from now. Look, there was a series called Dragon Ball Z, and this is what it did. This is what it brought to the anime world. This is what it did to pop culture. This is how big it was. This is how influential it was to all the animes that came and mangas that came after, and then just let it go. The fact that it took that long to close out Naruto, and you're like, oh, you know what? Let's introduce his son. Not necessary.
Whereas the thing is that in the end, what happens is like it's like they don't own. I mean, I'm sure, like if an American had come up with Dragon Ball Z, like I don't know, I'm sure Akira Toriyama is wealthy, but if an American had come up with Dragon Ball Z, he would be a billionaire because the amount of, but it's all run by the Toei Corporation. I think it is
Namco.
Toei. No, Toei. T-O.
Whoever, but they you know what I mean? Like in the end, like they like Akira Toriyama, they'll listen to him, they try to go without him and it didn't work.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, that's the sad thing about art in general, not just Dragon Ball Z, is that there's always somebody who said, let me just squeeze every last drop of that franchise. And unfortunately for Dragon Ball Z, like there'll always be just enough that you can just keep on going and going and going. But I agree with you. I would be more of the...
There is a spinoff, actually, I was told. The Galactic Patrol.
Oh, with Jacob?
Yeah, so there's actually someone wrote a manga. I forgot who told me this. Someone wrote a manga about the Galactic Patrol and his story and how that's all linked together. So that's I don't know how popular it is or what, but that's a spinoff. At least it's another character. It's another set of another environment, which is good. But I think Dragon Ball's got to go. All right, we're talking for a couple of hours now. Man, I'm glad I brought you in.
How do they end it now? Since they kind of have been milking it for so long, you don't want to end it on like a sour note. It has been so iconic and amazing.
I don't think it ends. I think at the end you just there is this one. I think I sent it to you back on Instagram. This end of the end of Dragon Ball Z, that like it was a fictional end that people wrote where basically the story is Vegeta becomes a destroyer god. Goku gets old, and then he comes back and he says, "Hey, you're about to die, so I will just give you energy one more time for a last." I think I sent it to you on Instagram a while back.
Which one had the ending? Was it Dragon Ball GT that had the ending where you see descendants of Goku and yeah, it is the end of Dragon Ball GT. I thought that would have been a proper ending. So at the end of Dragon Ball GT, there's it's like so Pan Gohan's Pan she's old now, right? And there's two, and everybody's old, and Goku goes away and flies with the actual dragon, which Shenron. And then there's a tournament. It's like, years later, she's old, and there's a tournament, and there's a kid who looks just like Goku and a kid who looks just like Vegeta, like younger than like Goten size. And they start fighting, and they can turn into Super Saiyan right away. And Pan is in the audience, and she sees across the way adult Goku just watching his descendants fight. And then he walks away halfway through the fight, and then you can see all the different moments in Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z as he walks away. And then he goes bye, and he's out. That would have been a good closure.
I don't know the end of the show here, but I feel Goten is one character also that had huge potential that could have been developed and never really got a chance, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So just that would have been a great ending. I will post the link of that ending. That would have been great. Like, okay, Goku goes away. Everybody's old, or some of them are dead, and it's over and done. Now there's descendants. We don't know how they grew up. We don't know anything. But as far as Dragon Ball goes, Goku's gone. And then they came up with Super, which has nothing to do with GT, of course, but it's like, okay, now we're gonna go do it again.
That's what I liked about it. They were like, forget all that trash you wrote while I was away.
No, but GT would have been a good
idea.
GT would have been
like just we're just gonna pretend that never happened.
all right. Adama, anything you want to plug? I mean, your dope shit. We do like we plug dope shit at the end of the show. I think JoJo is your dope shit.
No, actually, we'll give you a couple of stuff. So there's a show I started watching called Line of Duty, which is really good. It's a British show, 6 episodes a season about cops investing cops. It's a really good thriller.
Investigating?
Yeah, so it's internal affairs basically.
Oh, okay. Well, what's it on?
It's on AMC Plus on Prime Video, or you can watch it on my Plex server. But it's really good. It is really, really good.
Okay.
So that's my real anime. And they were asking for you earlier. You gotta come say hi.
Hello.
Hey.
And what else should I plug? So Line of Duty, really good. What's a great movie we saw recently?
It doesn't have to be a movie. It could be a book. It could be anything.
It doesn't have to be a movie. It could be a book. So I plug the series.
It could be a book. It could be a show. It could be a service, a website.
All right, let you guys go first, and then I'll think of it.
Do you have one, Karlen?
Yeah. Lately, I've been watching. I'm still watching it. Lena, the series. So I highly recommend that.
Mm-hmm.
Back.
What's the name of the series?
Selena, the series.
About the movie. About the
about the pop star.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's really good. I liked the J-Lo movie as well, but I think this series does a good job of kind of breaking it down, getting in more detail, kind of more of her backstory of how she was growing up and everything like that. You know, she's American, but she teaches herself Spanish so that she can just be kind of more exposed to a broader audience and everything like that. And I just think it's an interesting story. And Queen's Gambit as well, also on Netflix.
Oh, I've heard about that.
Yeah, I heard about that. I gotta start that at some point, but too much shit to do. Adama, you got one?
Yes. So there's another anime that I thought. So JoJo, people know about JoJo. Another anime called Gungrave. I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix now. It's this true story about those two guys who joined the mafia, and it's really interesting. It's a story about friendship. It's basically, it's the closest thing I've seen to not the Godfather in terms of the classic movie, but just about explaining the inner workings of the mafia, the families, and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a really good one, Gungrave. As far as book,
no, it doesn't have. That's fine. We gotta.
No. I just have one book actually. I'll plug it right here since it's here.
My brother takes over my own damn show. Look at that. What is that?
This is called the Checklist Manifesto. Right? It's this book that's been written about the importance of making a checklist to get things done. And there are a lot of interesting concepts in there, and a lot of them are used from aviations. Like if you're making a checklist, you can't put too much because then people don't follow, but you just got to put enough. And it really talks about, medical histories of changing procedures so people don't get amputated the wrong leg, that kind of stuff. That's so important. If you get a chance, it's an easy read, the Checklist Manifesto.
I can give you the cliff notes of the book. Make a checklist of what you want to do and check it as you get done. I don't have to read the book. I don't even read the damn book.
If only it was that simple.
It is. Make a checklist. And it comes down to discipline. Make a checklist, check your shit off, and then review it at the end of the day and make the one for the next day. All right, we're not going to do a deep dive on the book.
It's how to make a good checklist. So you're 100% right on that. Is how do you make it?
All right, fair enough. Mine to stay in the anime topic here. I watched Dorohedoro on Netflix. It's probably one of the weirdest anime I've watched. Now I've mentioned some weird ones last time. The farting people and Keijo with the girls that fight with their boobs and ass. This is weird, but weird in a good way. It's a horror anime that's actually funny. That doesn't take itself too seriously. And it's about a world where there's a guy who has the head of a lizard, like a big lizard. And there's a dude living in his head, in his mouth. And there's a world that there's humans, not humans, but there's the regular world. And there's a sorcerer's world. And the sorcerer's world is just people who have these powers that manifest themselves with black smoke. And so what they do is that these sorcerers go into this world and practice on people, their powers. And this guy has the head of a lizard, a big lizard, and he wants to find out how he turned like that. He doesn't know. He lost his memory. and why there's a guy in his mouth. So when he kills somebody or he wants to learn more, he'll bite someone's head, and then the guy, the person who got his head bitten is in the dude's mouth, and the head inside the mouth comes out, and he goes, "That you're not it." And the guy who got his head bitten off, and then the lizard goes, "What did the guy in my mouth say?" And because he's trying to find out how he became like that. It's so fucking weird.
That is the weirdest explanation I've heard in my entire
seriously.
life.
No, but and you know what? Why
forget the anime thing. That is the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
There's a dude in his head, in his mouth, and he's trying to find out how he became like that. So there's not really a bad guy. There's not a good guy and bad guy.
What is the name of the thing?
Dorohedoro. Let me see if I can pull it up. It's on Netflix. And one thing I like, we talked about last time how CGI kind of ruins anime when it's done badly. Dorohedoro actually works well because you have to look carefully to find out that it's CGI. Otherwise, you can't tell. And there's a manga actually that's ongoing. So apparently, still doesn't know who made him, who turned him that way. Let me pull it up. Dorohedoro.
Yeah, I see it. This sure looks weird.
It is weird, but I couldn't stop watching it. And then this girl does the girl that he's with, she cooks pork well, so they hang out, they're best friends and stuff. And you don't know anything about them. And then as you keep watching, you learn a little more. But the manga is still going.
I like the animation.
One day, a spell was cast on me, and it turned me into a lizard head. I lost all of my memories and have no clue who did it. In order to get my face back, along with my memories, I continue to hunt down any sorcerers I can find, alongside my partner, Nikaido. Hey, so what did he tell you? The guy inside? You know, I just saved you, so you should treat me to that.
You've never paid for anything before, so why should today be different? Bon appetit! Okay, but eat first!
Your enemy is a dangerous individual. Find him no matter what.
Noe, give me the bag.
Here.
Make sure you watch closely. I am what you would call a real sorcerer.
1, 2, 3, 4. How many of them did you clean up so far?
I'm positive I'll get to take revenge from Matsumura.
I don't know if I'm allowed to play this, but anyway.
Oh, interesting. Well, it sounded
Definitely
because when you said inside, I actually pictured it inside his mouth.
Oh, it is. It is inside his mouth.
Yeah,
It
I
is
can kind of
inside.
see it in that picture right there. The third one.
Like this.
Okay. Well, I guess it's not as weird as it sounded because I imagined like a head inside a head, like an alien. But
No, there is a head inside his head.
no, I know, but I guess I'm saying it doesn't look as weird. I thought like you could see the head all the time. So,
Look.
but
like
anyway,
that. And then this guy shows up in the mouth and he goes, "You're not it."
that's weird.
Like that. Yeah, it is weird, but it's a horror thing. It's actually funny, and there's no good guy bad guy. That's why I like it. Anyway, Adama, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
That was very great insight on Dragon Ball.
I learned so much about Dragon Ball today.
You gonna go back and watch it all?
I might.
Hey, if you don't do that, you can quit as a producer. You won't have time. You won't have time. All right. Thank you so much. As always, this is the FeedBak. We're everywhere. We listen to podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, all that good stuff. Leave a review. Let us know what you think. Share with your friends. We're going to keep doing these we're going to pick like a topic and kind of break it down. What's dope? What's whack? Does it need to go or not? That's the format we're going to try and see what happens. So stay tuned for the next one. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you next time. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.